Hello there! Today we're going to be talking about word problems. But instead of trying to make an equation for a situation, today we're going to be taking a look at an equation already given to us and try and figure out what it can tell us about the situation. Before we get started, it's important to note that the equations that we're going to look for in these particular examples today all have to do with slope-intercept form, aka y equals mx plus b. So if you're trying to interpret a quadratic equation or an exponential equation, I'm afraid you've found the wrong video. Right, now that we're clear, let's take a look at the parts of y equals mx plus b that we're going to be asked to interpret. First, if you're being asked to interpret the number in front of x or whatever variable you happen to be given, this means you're looking for the slope, and slope is a rate of change. This means that your answer should fit some kind of form like the ones in the examples here. 8 feet per minute, negative $450 per month. As long as you got the word per in there, you're probably pretty safe. Now, if you're asked to interpret the constant term, that means you're looking for b in y equals mx plus b, also known as the y-intercept or initial value or amount. So your response should indicate that you're talking about an original or initial amount or a starting value. It's as simple as that, folks. Let's go ahead and take a look at some example problems. First up, in its first year of life, a kitten's weight can be modeled by the linear equation y equals 1.2x plus 0.5, where y is the weight in pounds and x is the number of months since birth. What does the 0.5 in the equation represent in the context of this situation? So let's repeat that. The question is asking about the 0.5. To answer this or any question like it, we have to figure out first if our value is the m or the b in y equals mx plus b. Since it's a constant term, it should be pretty obvious that what we're looking at is the b value, also known as the y-intercept. And remember, the y-intercept represents the original amount. Okay, so what's this word amount mean in this particular situation? It's whatever your y value represents, aka weight in pounds. So when we're talking about original amount here, what we really mean is the original weight. Very good. It also pays to know that when you're talking about original, you're actually referring to whatever the y value is when x is equal to 0. And here, when we're talking about our little kitty cat, x is the number of months since birth, right? So when x is equal to 0, what we're saying is 0 months from birth, or at the time of birth when the kitten was born, or just plain at birth. We officially have enough information to be able to answer this question intelligently. The 0.5 in our equation represents to us the kitten's weight. Make sure you give them the units in pounds. And now you got to tell them when. At birth. The end. Be sure not to skimp on the sentences. Not only does it show people how smart you are, but it helps us avoid any miscommunication. Right, second example. The number of employees working at a local call center depends on the average number of calls received by the center. The equation below provides a guideline for the number of employees working E when a center receives an average of C calls. Explain what the 1/3 in the equation represents in the context of this situation. Here we have E is equal to 1/3 C plus 1. And this question is asking us to explain what the 1/3 in our equation represents. Of course, even though we don't specifically have y and x, this is still an equation that's in y equals mx plus b form, and so we have to determine whether the 1/3 is an m or a b. Since 1/3 is with the variable, this makes it our m value. And once again, m is supposed to represent our slope, but it's going to be better for us to think of slope as rate of change. There we are. And if our answer is a rate, that means we need to have the word per in there. But what per what? Well, it's y per x. So employees working per average calls received, or something to that effect. Ready? Believe it or not, with those two pieces of information, we have everything we need to answer this question. The 1/3 in our equation represents, and first we're going to put our y category, that would be number of employees working or hired. Per, very important, whatever your X category is. Call, or calls received. The 1/3 represents the number of employees hired per call. Okay, easy, no problem. First, try and figure out if you're supposed to talk about M or B. If it's B, you're talking about a y-intercept, aka an initial or original amount. If you're asked to talk about M, that means you've got a slope or rate of change, which means your answer should have the word per in it. That is to say, y per x. Okay, that's it. Time to go.